Good night. Ajmahari here. And I just want to do this comment. It's an addendum. Like, I have to add this comment into something I've already done about a person with codependency who's using a borderline. And this is a really overt example. So I think that maybe people will find it interesting. And I'm not, maybe some people might relate. I don't know. But whatever the case, it's pretty important to not be following in this codependent's footsteps. So this person left a comment on a video I did. Excuse me. What am I doing here? Okay, wait a minute. Can you? No, that doesn't work. Okay, never mind. Sorry about this. Yeah, this will work, right? Yeah. So the video was, can you stay friends with a BPDX? Commenter says, resources would be a #1 reason to stay friends with a BPDX. My girlfriend is about to inherit $2 million in a house in California. I'm certainly, I think I was, yeah, never mind. Commenter says, I'm currently unemployed and could become homeless without her. It might also sound funny. Trust me, it does not sound funny. But I'm very close to her dog. That dog and I are best friends. I mean, I have dogs. I love dogs, but I had a couple breakups in my life where there was a dog or a couple dogs involved, and sometimes you gotta really, just deal with what is, and it can be very painful. So this person is just focused on resources. That's a #1 reason to stay friends with an ex with BPD. Normally don't we hear, or more commonly don't we hear, about people with codependency wanting to stay friends with a BPDX because they really want to help them. They really want to still overgive, really want to try to rescue and fix them, and maybe you still want them back. But this codependent, no, keen in on resources, and his borderline girlfriend is about to inherit $2 million in a house in California, and he's unemployed, and he could become homeless without her. So it already sounds like, even though, because the rest of this video you'll see that I've already pre-done ahead of this, because I forgot about this comment. But the bottom line is, like, so I said things in the other part of the video you'll hear coming up, wherein, like, it's like, well, this person with BPD seems to have more, ability to cope and etc. with making a living, at least. Well, okay, because I think that's still true. Even though they're about to inherit $2 million in a house, the codependent is the unemployed one who just could become homeless without her. So she must be doing something to maintain an income that this codependent can keep using that borderline. You see what I'm saying? In spite of what they're about to inherit. So yeah, that's part of that. And the other part, I think, is right here, where I replied and said, really? ? That's not friendship. What if she, it's a longer comment than I can see here, unfortunately, but what if she doesn't give you what you need? And then I said, I love dogs as much as the next person, but I wouldn't be hanging around in an unhealthy, toxic relationship. And I wouldn't want to be the person with the codependency using a person with BPD or vice versa, because what the rationalization is, because they really love her dog. Dogs are great, right? But like, this person has no self-respect. And they replied back to what I'd said. While enmeshed with a person with BPD, it's important to have a plan B. It's like they're trying to tell me this like they know something that the rest of us don't know. Like, if you're codependent, you want to use, out of the borderline, or the borderline X, or still you're staying with them, because you want to make them an X as fast as possible. But like, they got resources and you don't got resources. This is straight up usury. And I don't think most codependents do this, but this one does. And I wonder what people think. There are other ways that people with codependency can, in way, way different, way more unconscious ways, and not like exactly in the vein of this person, be somewhat needing something from the person with BPD, or maybe using to attack. But that's usually not conscious on the part of people with codependency. So, not excusing it, it is usually not conscious. So, let's start over here. He says, well, enmeshed with the person with BPD, it's important to have a plan B, or be working hard on and plan B is put in quotes, I don't know why, on a plan B. It's also important to keep, in quotes again, plan B, a secret, yes, and have money saved up that she doesn't know about. Sometimes you have to plan the game. Interesting. Are they just so familiar, so like enamored with the word plan? Or do they mean sometimes you have to play the game? But in this person's case, I'm thinking, sorry, commenter, I'm thinking maybe it's both. They're planning the game and they're playing the game. So sometimes you have to plan the game a little longer so you can safely escape and still be living indoors. And you'll hear in the upcoming part of this video that, yes, this person is so black and white, and they're with their codependency, and what else is going on with them exactly? Because I think something else is going on. I don't know. I mean, I can't say it would be going too far, except to say, I think something else is going on here. So this person is really, really focused on not only that the borderline has the resources, and he should play the game, and it's okay for him to do a plan B and to hide money from her. So lie and be enmeshed and have no self-respect, using this person with his borderline girlfriend, and so he can safely escape and still be indoors. This person, as you're going to hear in the rest of this video, which I had done prior, but whatever, doesn't matter. He's so black and white about if he's not leaning on the resources and using his borderline girlfriend, whether he's saving money or not, or just waiting for her inheritance payday, that I don't know why he would think it's coming to him, but I don't know what their dynamic is. So yeah, the thing about, he thinks if he were to do anything differently and maybe take, pull up his bootstraps and such, and take some personal responsibility for himself, then he wouldn't be able to live indoors. Because I guess he doesn't have the resources to live indoors. And I don't know. What do you think about this? Please feel free to comment as harshly as you feel you need to, because I'm trying. It's very hard not to be harsh on this person. So, and what do you think about a person with codependency using a borderline girlfriend, or even if it was a woman using a borderline boyfriend, to stay indoors, as they say, but basically to, use them because they're unemployed, use them because they're not taking personal responsibility, use them because they're going to inherit money in a house, use them because maybe this person is stashing money away. And so what? Like letting the borderline girlfriend pay for everything while saving money on the side. You see, what's missing here in a scenario that might happen to a man, okay, but that would happen maybe more often to a woman with a BPD male, is that the woman might have children to take care of and be mostly responsible for, a person with a borderline male, and the woman might be being really, domestically, abused, and the BPD male might be really, really dangerous, like one of those battering types. It's dangerous, the most dangerous when you're trying to leave them. And I could see some of this being a plan that a woman with a borderline male might have to be involved in due to kids and circumstances and lack of finances, and perhaps a borderline male controlling the finances. But I don't think that a woman could be in this position, but I don't think that a woman would be in this position of usury. A woman would actually be having to plan for safety. And this person said, plan the game a little longer so you can safely escape and still be indoors. Doesn't sound like anybody's holding him there. Doesn't sound like anybody's physically abusing him. I'm not saying physically abusing him, sorry. I'm not saying that men can't be abused by women and borderline women. Yes, they can be. And I'm not saying that something where a man is lacking resources couldn't come up as well. Obviously, this man is lacking resources, but this doesn't sound like a domestic, situation. So, or IPV is happening. This person is just straight up using this person out of their own entitlement. Codependent enmeshment? Too much love for a dog? Like, say what? So, I find this kind of like, I don't know why, it's just flummoxing, because I'm sure there are other scenarios out there like this. Could be other men with a borderline woman, could be other women with a borderline male. But like I said, there's legitimate reason why this might happen if there's domestic IPV happening from a male with BPD to a female, or from a female with BPD to a male. But I don't think that many people would be so worried about whether they're indoors or outdoors. Doesn't this person have somewhere, as I'm going to say in the rest of the video, to couch surf or to go? I really think this person is out for personal gain more than they have the need, because if they're unemployed, okay, and times are tough, I get that. But they need to pull up their bootstraps and go do there are jobs out there that nobody wants to do, right? Well, go get one of those and do whatever you got to do. And I say more about that in the part of the video that I actually did prior to this part. So this is just to, introduce into the video and not leave it out that his partner, his borderline girlfriend that he's using and keeping secrets from and whatnot about money and plan B, and he so wants to stay indoors, as if that's all it's about. It is for this guy, apparently, but and she's about to inherit $2 million in a house. Well, $2 million sounds like a lot of money, but if you're not responsible with it, it won't last long. And what does he expect? And I hope that this person who's his borderline girlfriend won't fall for this, because I would just hope that this wouldn't happen to anybody. Then when she inherits that money, like, she's obviously already supporting this dude and doesn't know, like, if he's maybe, able to, like, what is he doing? Stashing money away that she gives him so he can take off when he feels like it's a good enough escape plan because there's no IPV going on in her partner, the other word that YouTube doesn't like so much, just B and IOLENCE. I don't know. YouTube makes us talk funny. It really does. It's just not good. Anyway, so yeah, this is straight up usury. And what do you think about that? And what do you think about reasons why this person with codependency, but maybe not only codependency, would be using someone in this fashion and feeling so incredibly entitled, and yet trying to rationalize it by saying, well, they're enmeshed with the borderline. And that could be true, but still, hey, you gotta stand on your own 2 feet there. And the other thing is, and for the love of a dog, does it, here's a question for you, does it make you almost feel sorry for the borderline girlfriend, even if you are somebody who's been really hurt by a borderline? Or do you just go, I don't care, good on him? I wonder, I really hope that people will share what they think about this, because, you got to get past the title first. I got to work on the title, but because it might be a codependent using a borderline. But the thing is that a good title? I don't know. So anyway, I'm going to put this together with the rest of the video, and it will flow naturally from there. I just wanted you to know when I'm talking about the person with BPD supporting him. It's funny because I thought, well, okay, if she's going to inherit $2 million in a house, well, but maybe there's something else going on. And then when I thought about it, to just add this part in and acknowledge that comment that comes prior to the other one I respond to in the rest of what will be this video, now I'm thinking, well, yeah, it's good information to add into this, but it still sounds like the borderline girlfriend is supporting the dude, the apparently codependent dude. And I mean, he probably is codependent, but I don't think he's just codependent. So what do you think of this? And listen on, and you're going to hear a lot more details of how a person saying they have codependency but not owning it and saying the codependent this, the codependent that, as if all of you out there with codependency would be doing the same thing, making the same choices, being as duplicitous and dishonest and yeah, stuff as this commenter using a borderline is being. This is a rather I don't know what to call it. I shouldn't block the mic with the phone. It's yeah, gargantuan undertaking, I think, to answer this comment and to do it without being too hard on this person with codependency. But this is maybe the first comment like this that I've ever got on this channel in 16 years. And it's really something to behold. And I must say, too, that maybe like 3 to 5 clients and 35 years of working with clients so far, and I'm out here to work with you if I resonate with you because I can really help you if you're ready to create the change. It's going to take you where you really want to go and living your fullest and best, healthiest life. Point is, I think I've only had 3 to 5 clients that might have been somewhere in the territory of this codependent commenter. So I want to try not to be too hard on them, but I can't really go too easy either. Because what am I always talking about on this channel? That's, I think, really central and important, is it's not all about the person with BPD. Excuse me. It's very much what they do and how they hurt you in many ways, of course. Then there's a reality that you're making choices and you have your own personal responsibility if you're sticking around, getting hurt, losing yourself more, and all of that stuff, obsessing, ruminating, just losing yourself, your life, maybe your goals, dreams, maybe your aims, maybe just almost everything to this person with BPD. And that is not because they're all powerful. It's because you're giving it away, giving yourself away in the service of what? No, it's not just love, trying to gain love or be seen or heard by the person with BPD. It goes back to something in your family of origin. I'm out here to help people to work and understand that and go through a healing process with that. So now let's get to this comment that a person left on I think it was a short that I did, or a short I put up recently, because some of them are from older videos. And by the way, just I got the weight gain thing happening again, whatever, the medical thing. But I wanted to say that in the shorts and in the last 5 years, it's been more like I've been bigger than smaller. And so I just wanted to add that if you're wondering if I did any videos when I wasn't as heavy and etc., yeah. And the reason why they aren't in shorts yet is because there's no way to link them in the relevant videos section of shorts. So I have many videos, like if they're over 5 years old, you can't put them in the relevant link. There's no way to do it. Shorts on YouTube. So I'm planning on putting up a lot of shorts from videos that are over 5 years old, because I have videos that are 16 years old. I'm not saying going all the way back there necessarily. Anyway, to this commenter. So they left it on a short that was called BPD Magical Thinking Gap and Codependent Logic. So this is going to be a bit of a twist, and please, if you're a person with codependency, or you're somebody who's darn sure you're not codependent, but you might be codependent, or you could be in the less than 5% that maybe you aren't codependent, please don't hear me putting this across as all people with codependency, or that if you're trying to figure out where you have some codependency going on, this is a person kind of all onto their own. I don't mean the only person in the world, but this is really not something that we usually see, because what is happening with this commenter? This is a person with codependency who's using a borderline, okay? So it's kind of a big switch. We have all the borderlines using all the codependents, but, well, a lot of those codependents are kind of in a way using the borderlines differently and maybe more unconsciously. Okay? Repetition compulsions. But let's get to the commenter who's a codependent using a person with borderline personality disorder. I mean, straight up. It's not like, oh, gee, I might get this wrong. So this person says, codependency can mean living indoors with a borderline personality disorder person that has more resources than you do. The rationale is very logical for staying with the borderline, living with the borderline indoors, because they have more resources than the codependent does. It's not logical, by the way. It's rationalization and a whole bunch of other things, but it's not rational, like the commenter wants to say. Commenter goes on to say, play the game and do the dance with the BPD, or, quote, hit the road, Jack, quote, and don't you come back no more, yeah. Stan Peters, I believe, good Canadian band, just saying. Anyway, elbows up, Canada. The alternative, commenter says, the alternative can mean living outdoors. I'm sorry. As if it's that simplistic, but maybe, right? But I would advocate that anybody with codependency, like this person, this commenter with codependency, codependency can mean living indoors with a person with BPD who has more resources than they do. Or it can mean if you don't do the borderline dance, you got to hit the road, Jack, and you have to be outside. Isn't there usually somewhere? I mean, people know people, maybe. You have family, friends, somebody. You wouldn't have to be literally outdoors. I wouldn't think, but And then the commenter continues, from a logical point of view. Notice the overuse of the word logical, because this isn't logical. From a logical point of view, the codependent needs to stay with the BPD long enough so they can make it on their own. And interesting, isn't it, that this person says that codependent, like all y'all out there, sorry, that's Americanism, all y'all out there with codependency, you're like anywhere in this territory, right? You're using a borderline, you're staying with them because you don't want to be outdoors. No, like most of you. I would think everybody, but maybe like minus this person and a few others. No offense, commenter. You're not in this position at all. So this person is like, codependency means living indoors and borderline's got more resources. You got to do the borderline dance or hit the road, Jack, and then you have to live outdoors. And it's really logical that he or she is doing this, right? That's what they're trying to float. Interesting. I don't know. Doesn't make much sense to me, and it's an abdication of personal responsibility at minimum. And so they keep saying the codependent instead of I. Like they should be saying, meaning them, I have found that. And I as a codependent, but they're not acknowledging that they're making a choice at all. So let's continue. So, it's logical for somebody with codependency that needs to stay with a borderline, using them, by the way. Like only borderlines are accused of using people, right? Just saying. That you have to do that till you can make it on your own. And then the commenter continues, in the meantime, the codependent knows the relationship is bad. The codependent, think maybe this person is saying, in the meantime, I know the relationship is kind of bad, but no, this person would rather put it out on all you guys. I'm just saying. There's no personal responsibility taking in the narrative of this comment because this person keeps going, the codependent, instead of owning that they're that codependent in that situation. Yeah. In the meantime, the codependent, in other words, this person with codependency, knows the relationship is bad and can find time away from the relationship to be themselves. Well, I guess they're still speaking in the plural, right? Yeah. Codependents do this because to be themselves and work on skills and talents to become independent. Say what? you are using a person with BPD, commenter, because you don't have as much resources as they do, and you like living indoors and you don't want to live outdoors, as if you couldn't maybe go stay with somebody, I'm just saying. And then you would have to be outdoors. But you're doing this so you can work on skills and talents to be independent. Say what? That sounds relatively inversely sort of like comfy and cozy and like great usery. Yeah, I'm gonna learn talents and skills over here. I'm in no hurry to get a job or anything. I don't know if that's what that means or not, but it comes across that way. And in the meantime, I'll just be using the borderline's resources and I'll just keep doing the dance so I don't have to hit the road jack. Interesting, because you'd think in this circumstance, working on talents and skills, you'd have to throw that aside and do this thing that I know people haven't heard a lot of, or apparently this codependent, I'm sorry, this commenter, get a job, right? Get a job. That means, I don't know, go clean toilets, go clean clothes, go like mow lawns, whatever season wherever you live, go shovel snow, if there is snow, like do stuff that, like lots of people. I have a couple of people I know, like right now, my partner, one of her kids, not really on the hard and, like hard and down and out, but in between things right now and wanting to keep, so, got a job, just, slinging stuff in a restaurant or whatever. And in the meantime, he's making an inordinate amount of money based on a little bit of talent and skill. Like this person says they're working on their talents and skills. Can you put one into action maybe? So yeah, one of my partner's sons is like, putting his talents into action. But, since he found himself between jobs, which is, something to do with tariffs, I've heard, But the point is anyway, he's going to be starting his own business now because he effectively is without doing it, if you know what I mean. So, and there's people out there, they work as, like, for men, it's easy. I mean, some women could do it. Handymen, and they like, maybe they have talents and skills. Like this person is still working on their talents and skills. So, they're different, I guess. They're more special. They can keep using the borderline, right? And they have no personal responsibility. But so like what he's doing, I'm just saying is, out there doing jobs, and advertising himself on local marketplaces with like, need a toilet fix, need some plumbing done, need this done, because he has those skills. He's not just working on them, he's using them and making money. And by the way, I've seen other people out there working. They're cutting lawns, they're raking stuff, they're cleaning out people's garages, they're doing whatever they can do to make dollars. And if you do enough of it, you can make enough dollars. Anyway, so much for personal responsibility with this commenter right now. Anyway, and then the commenter continues, if a person is financially dependent on a borderline, it would be foolish for the codependent to just say, and again, the codependent, instead of, this person can't reference themselves. Okay, yes, sorry. If a person is financially dependent, like this person is financially dependent using a borderline, okay? It's not an if, but okay. They're financially dependent on borderline. It would be foolish for that codependent, meaning this commenter, to just say F off and go no contact. Would it really be foolish, or would it just be personal responsibility? And then you'd have to like make some other plans, take care of yourself, and maybe you wouldn't have as much time to pursue your talents and skills, because maybe you'd have to find something to put toward a job, to pay for something over your head. You know what I'm saying? That's, wow. And and why would it be foolish for this codependent to just tell the borderline F off and go no contact? Well, they continue. Going full no contact requires enough F off money. They really thought this out, right? They're really in this big rut called, I just can't. Stuff's too expensive. Wait for it, it's coming. I just can't. So you see, there can be almost as much in some people's, in this person's, commenter, in this person's reality, there's as much learned helplessness as the average person with BPD. Though I take it that this person's BPD at least knows how to go out and have resources and earn money, right? Just saying. And not that times aren't hard now and etc. They are. And we should have empathy for that, all of us, for ourselves and each other. Because if we're not filthy rich, and I know I'm not filthy rich, then, it's, things are getting harder and more stressful for a lot of people. So I'm not trying to belittle that either. I think most people with codependency can find somebody to couch surf with, at minimum, right? Anyway, this codependent's gone full rational. No, they've gone full justification, right? So here it comes, okay? And it's true out there. And I hear the commenter, but still, I would say, what do you think? I think this commenter needs to pick up their socks, pack up their stuff, and find somewhere to go couch surfing, find a way to make some bucks, even if it's not enough bucks to get a place, and move on with their lives. I think they have personal responsibility they need to take. So here, the rest of the commenter continues. Rents in my city are nearly $2,000 for 475 square feet. A small house costs $1 million. One bag of groceries costs $100. Well, don't a lot of us know about these prices? And I don't know about $2,000 for 475 square feet. I've seen that advertised around here. And I've seen maybe, you add a couple $100 to that $2,000, you still get yourself a 2-bedroom apartment. Just saying. So, and, a small house costs over $1 million. Well, I think, small, big, mediums, whatever. Houses are real expensive, and that this is a problem for younger people, especially too. Being priced out of the market, and it's happening in many areas of the world, right? And a bag of groceries costs $100. Well, let's see. We got groceries yesterday. And it was not like a big grocery thing. It was an in-between grocery thing. And it was, those little bags, those little, little bags, shopping bags, like from here to like here tall, And so we got about 8 of them, I guess. But they weren't proper size garbage grocery bags. But that was like $270 or something. So if you put that into a few proper grocery bags, it would, you have at least a couple bags there that were $100 worth. We all have to deal with it. We all have to do the best we can. But what do we need to do that? Well, we need personal responsibility and accountability first and foremost. Yep. Oh boy, the commenter, this codependent is going to get logical again. Hold your horses, hold your seat there. Yeah, make sure you're sitting down for this one. From a logical point of view, doing the dance of a BPD is better than life on the street. Is it really? I mean, I'm really here to say, is it really? You're just lucky right now that they're putting up with your sorry butt. And are you just a codependent? Because you don't seem to have the slightest clue about personal responsibility or accountability. Usury of a borderline by a person with codependency here. We don't hear that every day, do we? Exactly? I don't know. And the job, so commenter continues, the job of the codependent, again, depersonalizing all this in his commentary. The job of the codependent is to figure out how to become independent before the BPD's final discard. Wow, you really live on the edge there, dude. And I don't mean to be disrespectful, but this comment, you don't respect yourself at all. Commenter goes on to say, another scenario would be, it gets worse. It gets worse. Are you sitting down? It gets worse. Another scenario would be if the BPD developed health problems and required the help from the codependent. Now the codependent would have a position of power. What? That is like an astonishing admission in a comment. This person, having gone so far with no self-respect, no self-trust, no personal responsibility, just using a borderline, thinks it's okay. This is about being indoors versus being outdoors, as if it's that black and white. I don't know. Stuff is expensive everywhere. Yeah, it is. And so you better be moving your butt with personal responsibility to take care of yourself, right? Somehow. you'd think. Geez, there are a lot of people with borderline personality disorder out there, and they might make just absolute messes and horrific whatever experiences in relationships, situationships, but a lot of them are out there hauling in the dough, aren't they? A lot of them have careers. A lot of them are high functioning. A lot of them are doing a lot better financially than this person with codependency who thinks everything's so rational that he's doing. Or she. I think it's a he. So I don't know. But anyways, so then what if this person that he's using with BPD, because they have more resources, and he's doing the dance because he doesn't want to hit the road, Jack. He don't want to take any personal responsibility. He just must like everything with gravy on the side and coming from somebody else's hard work. That's sad, really sad, and not typical of most people with codependency. And so then the other scenario is, well, if that person that he or she, they, because I really don't, I think it's a he, but the other person that they are leaning on for the resources and being housed by and this codependent using the borderline, well, what if the borderline would have health problems? Then you'd both be outside, right? And you'd both be out on the street, maybe, eh? But no, this person is really all up in, wow, then the codependent would have a position of power. Huh. Commenter. I guess you don't have money for anything right now? I think that's what you're saying here. But maybe, borrow some off the person with BPD you're using already and go get help. Like yesterday, ASAP. What do you... If you're somebody out there with codependency and, you know, you're struggling with in relationship with BPD and you're obsessed or it's over and you're going through whatever iteration of all of it you're in, can you relate to this person at all? Because I hope not. You know what I mean? And like I said, other than 3 to 5 clients, maybe quite a while ago, and out of like all the clients I've worked with and I'm working with now, like over 35 years, I've never heard this before. And so do we just straight up take it that this person is only got codependency? Or do we think maybe there's like some borderline in there? Using another borderline, you know, working on the talents and skills, but doesn't want to hit the road, Jack, and likes to live indoors and thinks, well, the only other choice would be living outdoors. Because even if you can't get your own place, I mean, does this person have any friends or family? You know, couch surfing is a thing. People do it. Nowadays, lots of people are bringing lots of family members, I mean, a family member here and there in families, back into the fold of parents' house or brother or sister, because things are tough all over the place. No doubt about it. But at the bottom, everything this person said is so tragically sad because they're not taking any personal responsibility. But they are apparently having time on their own. And what are they doing with that besides being themselves? And then they are working on talents and skills, but doesn't sound like they're getting a job. To take care of themselves, to have personal responsibility, to have some, well, I don't know, modicum of like personal respect. Commenter, I don't really mean to be so hard on you, but I gotta call it like it is. I just never heard anything like this before. And so, and that other scenario, if they developed health problems, then you'd be in a position of power. Well, it just shows how this person with codependency going, that codependent, definitely doesn't understand personal responsibility or accountability, doesn't realize that, you know, like, if that had, well, stuff happened to me when I was younger, I mean, yeah, and I was homeless for a time, I had a van, whatever, you know, but I mean, and I had friends offering and people offering for me to stay with them and stuff, but I said no. I mean, I'd come and visit, I'd spend time, but like no, just because like I was living in my van, and that wasn't just in the summer here in like around Toronto, Ontario. It was like in cold months, and I was with like my first partner way back then, and we don't need to go back about that. But just saying, even when we were homeless back in the early 80s for a time, and you know, like I kind of ended up staying with the band, but she went back and got an old job. And then I would get a job. And then the problem we had was where are we going to get a shower? You know, stuff like that. And then we would answer that problem after the first church kicked us out. We didn't even want any money. We just like, can we use a shower? Like, because they have like gym stuff. So I know myself personally, might be in a different situation now. I'm an old lady, fat old lady, etc. But I would not rest on my laurels or use somebody else, borderline or not, whether I was codependent or ever. I mean, being afraid to be outside. I'm sorry, but like it's terrible. But a lot of people are living out there right now. And no, it's not ideal, but at least they're fighting for themselves in their own way. And this commenter is just sitting on the laurels of, yeah, here we have a person with codependency. Probably something else going on there, don't know. Using the borderline. Just saying. It's kind of a head twister, isn't it? It's kind of like turns everything upside down or something like that. What do you think, anyways? Because, commenter, if you see this and you really think like I'm just a mean person, I'm not. But to be honest, do I have a lot of empathy for you? No, because you don't have any empathy for you. Because you don't have any self-respect. Because never mind if you got low self-esteem, you got no self-trust, no self-respect. You're just leaning on a person with BPD. And is that who's got more resources? Now, is that really worse than people with BPD leaning on codependence? I'm not even going to go there. You can let me know what you think in the comments if you have anything that you want to share. But commenter, this is just an atrocity. And you need to do something right now. I mean, I would advocate that you need to do something right now to get out of your quote logic and into the fact that you're justifying, that you're not taking personal responsibility, that this gravy train for you, because you said like you wanted to find your independence before the borderline discards you. Well, you could have 10 seconds more. You could have 10 minutes more. You could have 5 minutes, another 10 days, another month and a half. You don't know. You must be some charming, helpless person in your usury of a person with BPD, but they're high functioning enough to earn an income and have resources. And you claiming to only be a codependent parent, and you're not, eh? So I'm just saying, if most people were in your situation, I think most people would find a job. And if jobs are hard to come by, there's always the jobs that nobody wants to do, but they still pay money. And maybe they don't get you $1 million house, and maybe they don't get you $2,000, 474 square feet or something. But you got to have some self-respect. You got to have some independence. You got to have some self-respect. Yeah. So anyway, that's his commenter on. So I did the short. It's part of another video, I guess, probably. But BPD magical thinking gap and codependent logic, and this person just jumps on it to share this with the world. Well, or the part of it that will see this, but to see this put out in public, they put it out because they don't seem to own any shame. So then do we start thinking this person is a codependent, maybe like in the NPD region? Don't know, right? It's just they seem shameless and utterly helpless at the same time, but full of the fact that they think that what I was talking about in that short and probably the video attached to it about codependent lack of logic having nothing to do with this stuff. But this person thinks, oh, no, codependents don't always lack logic. Let me share my life with you. Let me share that I'm using a borderline. Let me share that I don't want to live outside. She has, or he or she has, I think it's a she, but the borderline has more resources. And I'm just working on my talents and skills. And, I got to do the BPD dance because, to say F off and go no contact, I got to have enough F off money to do that. It almost makes it sound like person wants to be real comfortable before they, or they're not gonna until they're discarded because they don't have the ability to take personal responsibility. I don't know. That's the best I got with this. This is one of the most, well, with due I can't even say with due respect to this person because they have no self-respect. Do you know what I'm saying? Anyway, yeah, that's kind of that. This person has shared some things on this channel before, and they're equally as troubling. So I think this person really needs to get help. And I don't mean them any disrespect, but they super disrespect themselves. So what do you think about this? Could you even imagine this? Because I guess it could be going on for other people to different degrees, but I don't know how many people with codependency are using people with BPD like that. What do you think?